is The Furnace with John Burton.
Hey, so are you a Christian jerk? That's the question we're going to talk about today. And also, are you just a little bit too nice? Now, when I am engaging people online, and I know that this is true for you as well, be it on Facebook or Twitter or comment sections in articles or YouTube or whatever, and also in just regular life, there are a lot of what I call Christian jerks out there. And they are actually excited about being jerks. They think that they are one of the few truth defenders, right? And so they unapologetically, they stand for truth, and they'll shove that right up your nose and push it in your face and let you know how wrong you are, how bad you are. And they're jerks. And they can be totally right about the topic, but they're jerks. Are you a jerk? Are you a Christian jerk? Now remember, we're going to also talk about being too nice. We're going to talk about that in a second, because I think that happens probably more often than what I'm talking about right now. But we'll start right here. And you see these people online, they're just rude. And I'm thinking, you don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be unsympathetic. You don't have to be uncaring. You don't have to be aggressive in your opinion. You don't have to be any of that to get your point across. And I always ask people, what is the reason you're trying to get your point across? Is it so people will, tell you that you're right and they're wrong? Is it to prove something? Or is it because you're legitimately concerned about someone's soul or someone's life? See, if you're really concerned about someone's life, your approach is going to be radically different. You're not trying to win a war. You're not trying to win a battle. You're not trying to win an argument. Yet that's what we see all over the place online, is people trying to win arguments. It's one thing to stand for truth, and another to try to win an argument. Both, in terms of the content, may be correct. The conclusion may be correct. But the presentation, the delivery can be very, very wrong. This isn't rocket science. Didn't your mom and dad raise you better? And the bottom line is just be nice. And again, we're going to talk about being too nice in a minute. Be nice. I mean, for real. I'll get people talking with me online, and I'm like, did I do something to offend you? I'm not your enemy. You realize we're both Christians here. We're on the same team, even though we disagree on this point. Is there a reason why you're attacking? Why you're aggressive? Why you're name calling? It happens a lot. Why are you doing that? Why? So it's wildly immature, incredibly self-centered, totally selfish. Are you trying to make me better, or are you trying to crush me so you can, quote unquote, win? What's your point? That's my question. What is your point? Why are you doing this? But anybody that's followed me for any length of time, you know that I don't pull punches. I deal with issues. I'm not perfect, by the way, just so you know. Of course. You're like, I know that, John. Well, I'm just reminding you. The point I'm making is, no, I'm not perfect. I'll make mistakes. I'll break my own rules sometimes. I don't want to, but that doesn't remove the fact that we are supposed to honor one another, right? If I fail, I need to be quick to apologize. I really do, right? But the point that I'm making is be nice. Honor other people. Don't try to crush them. There's a lot of mocking out there, which I believe mocking has its roots in the demonic. Yet there are mockers for Jesus out there, or so they think. And so they live their lives online. They're trolls, if for lack of a better word, and they mock, they make fun of, they try to shame, they expose in terms of trying to reveal someone's every weakness, right? And so they do that. Now, on the flip side, those of us that are in the public arena, we need to have thick skin where it doesn't bother us. So that's important. Otherwise, you'll just never survive a day. But the reason I'm addressing this is the Christian jerks are doing a lot of damage to the kingdom of God. And not necessarily the person that they're arguing with, but the people that are listening in, the people in their sphere of influence. But it comes down to this, the haters and debaters, and I've talked about those people before, and so many of them identify as Christians, yet their fruit, boy, is lacking. So are you one of these people that you think being bold gives you license to be a jerk, gives you license to be rude, gives you license to elevate yourself above another, gives you license to shame? Does it give you license to not be honoring? Does it give you license to not love? Does it give you license to not be tender-hearted? Does it? Well, it doesn't. So you got to quit being a Christian jerk, because in my opinion, I believe you're more jerk than Christian. Now, on the flip side, this is probably more common in life. Maybe we don't, maybe the jerks are more prevalent, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so you notice them more online. But the flip side is those who are too nice, and they don't deal with the issues, and they go to sleep at night freaking out, wondering if they hurt someone's feelings, wondering if they've offended somebody, wondering if someone misunderstood them, and they don't want to do anything that would cause anybody any sort of heartache at all. And we need to understand that we live in a real world, and we don't need to be doormats. We don't need to freak out about everybody else's emotional condition. I'm not saying that we're not sympathetic, empathetic. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we don't become fearful. We don't become just timid. There are people out there, there are Christians out there, they're so passive that they won't go to battle for what's rightfully theirs. For example, right now, or last night, I was chatting with a T-Mobile rep, and I just needed help with a certain function that I'd never used before. And I told this guy, because it sounded like I could tell, even though we were just chatting, I could tell he was not really understanding what was going on. And I said, please don't make any changes to my account. Don't change anything. Certainly don't change my plan. I've been on it for years. I'm not letting that go. Don't change anything. And he's like, no, I'm not. Everything's cool. Well, what about 5 minutes after we get off the chat, three of my 6 phones on my account, the 3 that we were dealing with, offline. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. I just told you not to mess with it. And so then his supervisor gets on and says, oh, don't worry, the rate plan was changed, or the account was changed, or whatever, and but we'd put it back. And I'm like, I told you not to do that. And so if I was just this unnecessarily nice person, I would have just been, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it, thanks, and goodbye. Heck no. And so why? I needed to go to battle and trust me, some of you think I'm like, well, that's a dumb story. Trust me, there are a lot of people that will not deal with issues because they don't want to come across as being pushy. It's almost like, have you ever seen that Andy Griffith show? I watch Andy Griffith all the time. It's one of the only things you can watch these days. Of the salesman, the traveling salesman, who he kept saying, I don't want to be too pushy. He's a salesman. I don't want to be too pushy. And people try to buy something from him. It's like, oh, do you really need that? I don't think you really need that. They're like, yes, I want that. I want to buy that. Oh, but I don't want to be too pushy. And that's what a lot of Christians are like. And they're passive, and it's ridiculous. And so here I am dealing with this situation. Well, then I'm on the phone last night. I have to call in on my son's phone, which was not deactivated. And I'm on the phone sitting in my car. I was driving and then got home, sitting in my driveway, finishing the call. I was on the call for, had to have been an hour and a half, had to have been. And he said, don't worry, I escalated this. We got a trouble ticket going on. It'll be resolved in an hour. And so, okay, all right, I'll go home. I'll get on Wi-Fi. It's all good. Wake up this morning, not fixed. So then what do? I get on chat, and I'm very direct in my chat. Listen, we're talking about being a Christian jerk versus being too nice. And I'm very direct. I said, listen, this is unacceptable. T-Mobile broke 3 of my lines. One of them is a business line that I run my business off of. This needs to be fixed immediately. And I was on chat for over 2 hours this morning. And I'm asking for a supervisor, and the supervisor's on the chat, and at the end, they're asking me the same questions they asked me at the beginning of the chat. And I said, listen, you're asking me the exact same things at the end of the chat that you asked me at the beginning of the chat. I don't think you've read the notes. Please read the notes so I don't have to, keep saying things over and over again. And at the very end, he said, sorry, we can't help you. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. Then I jump in the car and I drive to the business, get on one of the other lines, call from one of those lines, call in. Now understand, I'm being appropriate, I'm being nice, I'm being honoring. I know the person on the phone has never dealt with my issue before. It's not that person's fault, not at that point. I think the chat people, it got to a point where it definitely was their fault. But I called, asked, I said, listen, this is an escalated issue. I need to talk to a supervisor immediately. I do not want to state again everything that I've stated now about 5 times. She was very nice, got me to a supervisor. Supervisor was very nice. He's doing everything that he can do. My phones still aren't on, but they're working. But the point is, this is something that just happened this morning. The point is I can be direct. I can be nice. I can be bold. I can be unapologetic. I can even be a bit forceful. I can refuse to be kicked aside. But I can be nice. I can be honoring. I can honor them as people. You understand what I'm saying? But there are so many people online, in life is what I meant to say, but it's online too. So many Christians in life that are just, oh, are you sure? Oh, I don't want to be pushy. Oh, and they're just so soft spoken, and they're so afraid of somebody not liking them. And they're so afraid of causing somebody any measure of angst. Listen, we're living in a real world. It's okay to cause people angst sometimes. It's okay to demand that someone do their job. It's okay, in terms of spiritual things, to stand for what you believe in. It's like, heck no, that's not right. That is absolutely wrong. I pray for you and I bless you, but listen, you are wrong on this point. And listen, and is there a time for a rebuke? Yes, there's a time for a rebuke, and is there a time to not rebuke and just to be nice? Yes. But listen, the point is, everybody, don't be a Christian jerk, and don't be so passive and fearful and to where you think just by being nice that's the best representation of Jesus. It's not. It's just not. Just being nice. He's called us to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers. In order to be a peacemaker, you got to go to war sometimes. You got to go to battle, right? And I love that mama bear approach that moms get around their kids. It's like, hey, no, you aren't going to mess with my kids. I'll take you out. We need some of that. Don't be so nice. So jerks and Christian jerks and Christian nice people. And you don't have to err on one side or the other. It's like, well, if I have to be one, I'm going to be the nice person. No, you don't have to do that. Get boldness, get some strength about you, get a backbone, refuse to be pushed around, go to battle for what's rightfully yours. But at the end of the day, you love, you honor, you bless, you want people to see Jesus in you, and you don't always have to be nice to do that. All right. What do you think about this one? Christian jerks, Christian nice people. Oh, I should state that a little bit differently. Christian overly, unnecessarily nice people. People who are nice to their detriment and to the detriment of others. All right. So leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Contact me. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Furnace with John Burton. You can access media, read articles, and partner with the ministry online at burton.tv. And by all means, share this podcast with those who are hungry for revival, reformation, and revolution.